welcome to the Beyond the Deal podcast. And thank you so much for joining me. Rocco Cozza is my next guest. And today we are going to be discussing how to adapt and or change a business focus. Rocco is the founder of the the Cozza Law Group. Thank you. And we had a little kismet going on when we talked because we were both W-2 employees, I would say, of the traditional businesses. And we had a life-changing event, unfortunately, with a parent passing away, and kind of had an epiphany of, gee, do we want to do this anymore? And decided to start our own businesses quite a few years ago, 2019, I believe it was your change, and right around that time was also my change. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah. So first, thank you for having me. This is a pleasure to be on your show.
yeah.
So my journey was definitely it's been a wild one. So I've been practicing law now, gosh, it's been 20 plus years.
Mhm.
So I started in big law when I came out of law school. Then I went in-house and I was general counsel for an IT company for 14 years. I did not intend to be in-house for 14 years. I thought it was gonna be maybe 3 to 5 years, but I just kind of stuck it out and went through a lot of management changes, but I was this sole C-level executive that just kept lasting through all these changes. And then it was 2017, I turned 40 in August. And then my grandmother, who was a huge influence in my life, she passed away that December. And that was kind of this moment. It's like, okay, like I knew I was meant to do something else. She always told me as a kid, you're meant to do something more. And I couldn't live that W-2 life anymore. I just
Yeah.
wasn't, it wasn't fulfilling. I couldn't make a difference in the organization. So came back after the new year. New CFO had joined. We were in the middle of a deal getting acquired by a Chinese company, and new CFO came into town. First time I met him, I walked in and resigned.
Mm.
Gave him 4 weeks notice, and it was kind of that moment, like, okay, like I just did that. So that was the spring of 2018, and I stayed on with them and consulted with them for some time, and then I started my firm officially July 1st of 2019. I was doing some other entrepreneurial stuff. I had real estate, had other businesses, was doing some speaking, but I started the firm in 2019, just really as a solo practitioner. Had a hole in the wall office. I spent $200 a month, shared an office with another attorney, and then COVID hit, and we kind of just turned into from that to now there's 10 employees here. We're in a 4,500 square foot office building, and we have huge aspirations to, our goal was 100 employees in 10 years.
So were you from a family that was entrepreneurial in, no?
No,
Okay.
no, I grew up in a very small town in Western Pennsylvania called Newcastle. So
Okay.
first one in my family to go to college. No one went to
Yeah.
college. I knew no lawyers growing up, no
Oh, okay.
entrepreneurs. It was just I was just a smart kid growing up. I was in the gifted program, so I just kind of always was trying to get myself out of that area.
Right.
And somehow I went to college and just never looked back. My family's still there. I still home. I live an hour from there now, but no, I just had to figure it out myself. I
Right.
had no real mentors, no one to show me. It was truly about just, I always say I might not be good at much, and I'm always good at taking the next step.
Okay. Okay. So you had the law practice, and
Hmm.
as we had discussed,
Yeah.
and as I have noticed, there have been these points in time or flexion points in businesses where business owners have looked up and said, "Oh, we can keep going down this path,
Hmm.
or there's an opportunity in the market where," and I think a lot of business owners at this point in time are looking around and going, are there opportunities? Or maybe they should, right? Be looking
Hmm.
around and going, are there opportunities? And I think you recently talked to me about seeing that. So take me through that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, even when I started the firm, I saw opportunity then. I just, when I started the firm, I'm going to give you some history. I worked in big law and then I was in-house. So I knew how big law firms worked as a lawyer in a big law firm and as a customer or a client of a big law firm. So when I started, I said, how do I do it differently?
Hmm.
How do we read our tagline is redefining legal services. So I asked a bunch of business owners what they hated about
Hmm.
lawyers. And I distilled that down to a list of 5 or 6 things that, okay, if I just don't do those things, we'll be okay. And that's what we've done now. Now, where we are now is I've kind of moved into this part of what I'm doing is strategic advising.
Okay.
So I'm going in and actually helping companies run their companies better. So
Mm.
as their lawyer, I've been working with them, so I see the inner workings of the company. I can usually spot the problems very quickly. It's usually the owner that's the problem.
Mm.
I kind of know how to fix it, and but I really wasn't doing it because I was just their lawyer. So I moved into now I offer the strategic advising services for select clients every quarter, and it was an opportunity to really go in and help these companies get out of their own way. And
Okay.
it's been a blast so far. It's been a phenomenal transition for me personally, and I think for the firm as we grow, it'll be an even bigger transition for the firm.
So, is it just you in your firm that is mainly, or are you bringing on now new partners, or are you bringing on new attorneys with you?
So, for the strategic advising, right now it's just me and then my chief of staff. She's really helped me run that piece of the business. So
Okay.
I'm kind of pushing the legal work down to my team
Okay.
here, except for the few larger clients I
Hmm.
work with. But then as this grows, there's a couple different models I'm playing around
Right.
with. One is going to be more of an online model because there's only so many hours in a day that I can
Yeah.
do it. And I'm
Yeah.
really selective with the clients. So that's going to be a planning for 2026, how that's going to look. But right now it's just me because I want to make sure I test the model first,
Hmm.
test the frameworks that I've built to make sure they work, and I can then duplicate them through other people.
So, do you think that this was an opportunity that you saw based on client needs as well as something that you liked to do?
Absolutely both.
Both.
One, I love it because I tend to be very direct with my clients. Like I
Hmm.
don't sugarcoat things. I'm like, let me just tell you what's going on. And they appreciate that because I'm
Hmm.
very open and honest with them. Two, there is a huge need for it because there's a lot of, everybody's now a business coach or
Hmm.
has a program they're using. And a lot of these people haven't been through the actual storm. Like I've sold 3 or 4 of my own businesses. I've built this law firm from scratch. I've worked with hundreds of other businesses. So I've kind of seen everything.
Hmm.
So I'm really taking that 20 plus years of experience plus the expertise I have in running my own companies to really help these founders take their companies to the next level. A lot of the problems are very simple and obvious. They're just, I call it step outside the frame.
Right.
They're in the frame. They can't see it. You
Right.
just got to get them to step outside and it's a whole new world opens up.
So you
There's
talked to
definitely a
me,
need for it.
yeah, sorry. You talked to me a little bit about you developed a process, if you will,
Hmm.
right? That you
Yeah.
take clients through. And I'm not sure how much you want to share about that, but you have a particular process, right? That you
Yeah.
had developed or have developed that you take clients
Hmm.
through
Yeah.
that is specific to that to kind of get them out of that kind of internal like heads
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah, it really is, and it's like there's the process is step outside the frame.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 frames I take a client to, and I build it specifically for the client because every company is different. But it's the first one is the clarity frame. We have to get very clear on what their business is in the current state and what they want it to be 3 to 5 years now. Most people don't even have that figured
Right.
out.
Right.
And then the second frame is the alignment frame. Are the owners aligned? Is the team aligned? Are the people aligned? Are the processes aligned for where that clarity is or
Mm-hmm.
where they want to go? Then it's looking at the profit frame. Okay, let's look at how your business actually runs. If you're clear on your vision, your people are aligned, is it as profitable as it can be? Where are there leakages? Where can we cut revenue or cut lines of business, cut products, add things to make it more profitable? Then the ultimate goal is the freedom frame. How does the founder make themselves be less of the bottleneck and actually run the business instead of work in the business
Yeah.
and really build that freedom for them? So it's kind of this 4 frame process, and it's very different for every client,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of the problems tend to be the same. It's just identifying the problems and moving them out of the way.
And what I have found is that
Hmm.
most clients, most owners think their issues are very unique, right? And as advisors,
Yeah.
we tend to find that, yes, there are those 5 or 10% that are very
Hmm.
unique to maybe an industry or
Hmm.
very unique in some ways, but there's 90, 95% that are very, it's people, it's process, it's culture
Yeah.
that somewhere went astray, it's the
Yeah.
owner that won't give up, the minutia or the control, right? And they've
Yes.
got to
Yep.
find the right people to be able to trust that they can give away that control. Or it's those same occurrences that keep happening, right? To
That's
be able
exactly
to
right.
grow, right?
100%.
And you're exactly right. You go through those processes to get those
Hmm.
clarity. Yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty amazing how many owners do think it's very like they're
so
the only
unique.
one that has this problem. But then but then they feel this sense of comfort when
Hmm.
you realize that, oh, there other people have it's just not me. They're not alone. And that's part of what I almost look at my therapist sometimes.
Yeah,
It's letting them know they're not
so
alone. Like
much. Yeah.
I'm a founder. I've went through the same things. I've went through a culture almost blowing up and having to rebuild it. So I
Mhm.
know what they're going through. That's why I come to them with actual hands-on experience, actually being in the storm and coming through it.
So, how do you find clients that are open to hearing that feedback, right? Because I'm sure
Yeah.
sometimes clients are, and I have found this sometimes that
Hmm.
owners are, no, 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 I know everything, I'm the owner, right? But then there are other
Hmm.
clients that might be a part of Vistage, they might be a part
Hmm.
of other owner groups. How do you find those
Yeah.
clients?
So a lot of the clients have come, one, just my law firm clients, right? So I already have sort of an intimate relationship with them. So there's already a level of trust built.
Hmm.
Like I just had a call with someone last week. They found me on LinkedIn. We had a great discovery call. We're going to start working at the end of this month. But it was, from the beginning of the call, I said, look, I'm going to listen to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I hope you're okay with that. This may or may not work. I'm always very upfront with people. Like they have to, I believe the right clients have to want to change.
Hmm.
If they don't want to change, I'm not even going to talk to them.
Yeah.
So to me, like that's a very good sorting mechanism. If they don't want to change, it's not going to work. So once the way to find them is, I mean, probably a majority of my clients are coming from social media, which is interesting.
We
I
talked
just
about
post a
that.
lot of stuff
Yeah.
about founders and the vulnerability, and I think people relate to the things I'm saying, and then they reach out and like, like that struck a chord with me. I tend to say things that strike a chord with people,
Okay.
and they end up finding me.
So tell me a little bit more about that because we talked about that
Hmm.
you had mentioned to me when I am working with B2B
Hmm.
businesses, I'm typically telling them, right, post these on LinkedIn, post your webinars, post your podcasts,
Hmm.
post most of what you do on LinkedIn, maybe YouTube.
Hmm.
Facebook might be or Instagram might be for your employees or for jobs that you're posting
Hmm.
for, but Instagram, Facebook, right? Maybe,
Hmm.
if you're reposting some things on X or something like maybe, that kind of thing. But
Hmm.
you mentioned you've gotten a lot of business from business owners, from Instagram, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned, right? You've gotten a lot of
Yeah.
business from that. So you think it's
Absolutely.
more that they're learning about your personality and how you work with business owners?
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way: you buy from people you know, like, and trust,
Right.
right? You're not going to get to know, like, or trust people through LinkedIn. Like I've learned that, right? It is, hey, we're telling you my expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are sharing expertise.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, and I try and share more personal stuff on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
but with Instagram, I'm sharing me. I'm talking on video. They're hearing my thoughts about things. I don't get real technical. I don't talk about the law very often or
Right.
business strategy. It's about the problems and the things that founders deal with in their head, like in their heart. And I think that builds this instant connection
Okay.
where people feel like they know me and then they reach out to me. Like that has been truly the best platform for me
Right.
because it gives people an in-depth look of the person. I don't have to prove myself with my expertise. I have the 20 plus years of experience. I have all the letters after my name. Like they have to like me though. They have to like me and trust me. And the way to do that is truly through a platform like that.
Right, right. Because when I think that when you look at your LinkedIn profile, right, which
Hmm.
so many times these days are people's resumes, right? You look and
Exactly.
see their resume and you're like, ooh, that's very impressive, right? That person must be,
Hmm.
you never know from a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
When I looked at
Yep.
your profile and reached out to you and said, would you like to meet about being on my podcast? I thought, I don't
Mhm.
know who this guy is. He might
Yeah.
be, very standoffish or whatever. When I met you, I was like, wow, he is very personable, right? I'm not on
Thank you.
Instagram, so I don't know your personality, right?
Right.
But business owners who are on Instagram probably are, following
Yeah.
you and saying, wow, he's very personal. I would want
Yeah.
to work with him. He seems like he's a good guy and he would take care of me. One thing that
Yeah.
you mentioned is, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, right? And I'm
Yeah.
very much that type of person too, right? Anyone who
Hmm.
works with me knows I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to be upfront and blunt sometimes. I definitely try to, though, leave people with their dignity, right? In
Yeah.
the
Sure.
sales world, dealing with
Yes.
salespeople, you have to be blunt. You have to call a spade, right? You're not doing what you need to do, but you
Yep.
still need to. So talk to me a little bit about that because you've got both sides, right? You've
Hmm.
got your client side, you've got your internal team side, and you've had to
Yeah.
transition from doing traditional law work, which you still do, but you've had
Hmm.
to transition into the consulting type of work as well.
Hmm.
Tell me how you've prepared your team, how you deal with clients that might be a little bit difficult in this transition too.
Yeah. So I'll tell you. So with the law firm, one of our requirements here, everybody has to read the book on reasonable hospitality.
Okay.
And that book has
Hmm.
changed the way we deal with
Okay.
clients. And it's been a very easy. If you haven't read the book, I recommend it to everybody. I've read it probably four, maybe five times
Okay.
already. It's
Reasonable
about the restaurant
hospitality.
industry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about the restaurant
Okay.
industry and how
Okay.
this one restaurant got to the top of the number one in the world list. But it's really about just giving that level of service above and beyond. And when you treat clients like with that white glove, everybody says white glove service, but what does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's anticipating their needs. It's really understanding the person because problems are different depending on the person. You
Mm-hmm.
might think it's the same problem, but it's very different because it depends on the person. So it's really just understanding the people and being very empathetic. Like I'll be very blunt with people, but I'm also empathetic. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they don't realize they're doing it. So it's the way I always say, our firm, as a firm, we have three core values, and our number one core value is be a good human being.
Mm.
And if you hire people that are good human beings, handling clients is easy because clients don't get crappy with good human beings. Like they
Mm.
really don't. Like we've never really had clients get angry at us because we treat them so well. And that's really what it's about. We treat people the right way. And then the platinum rule, right? Treat people how they want to be treated.
Got it.
And so you gotta take that time to understand the client and understand how do they want to be treated? How do they receive information? Like how do they need to be spoken to? Like that's what I try and train my people to do. And that's worked so far.
Do you think also though that those really what I would call crappy
Yeah.
owners probably aren't getting past you to
Yeah.
begin with?
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly
Right.
right because I can sniff those out pretty
Right.
quickly and I'm like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
It's not
because there
about the
are
dollars
people
to me.
out there that are just, not they're belligerent, right?
Hmm.
They're people that you're like, no, this probably isn't going to work. Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've fired a few of those clients over
Right.
the years just because if anybody treats one of my employees that way,
Hmm.
I don't care how much they pay our firm, I will fire them immediately.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your eyes wide open as you
Hmm.
are transitioning into this next, change into your
Hmm.
business. Obviously, I'm sure other attorneys are out there as well, kind of changing into this, whether it be exit planning or whether it be,
Hmm.
which I know you do as well.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of attorneys do that, because it's a big transaction,
Oh yeah.
within business ownership,
Yeah.
acquisition,
Hmm.
and what business advisement, what other, as your eyes are open, are there any lessons that you have learned through this? And I know you're somewhat in the midst
Hmm.
of it. Is there any lessons that you've learned that you're like, ooh, I need to pay attention to this next time?
Well, I think the biggest thing I'm learning now is how people have gotten too reliant on AI
Mm.
in their business, and they're losing the skills that got them to where they are.
Oh, okay.
Like that's where I'm
Interesting.
seeing the biggest either area of opportunity or biggest threat businesses have. AI is amazing, and we've adopted it and we use it, but a lot of people have used it to replace what they do.
Okay.
So then they forget to do what they do or how to do what they do.
Okay.
So it's definitely impacting business. I'm watching people like they can't write anymore.
Mm.
They forgot how to write. They forgot how to be creative. They've
Right.
relied on technology so much and AI so much. It's creating like openings for better competitors that go in and take market share.
Okay.
So that the clients I'm advising, I'm saying, look, use AI as a way to make you better, not as a way to replace you.
Right. Right. Interesting. So you're
That
seeing that
yeah,
on the
that's
client side,
yes,
where,
on the client side.
okay, where they're missing opportunities or,
They're either missing the opportunity to use AI or they're using it too much and it's creating weaknesses in their
okay,
organization.
as you're going through
That's
that planning with
yeah,
them, you're seeing that it's
exactly.
their, okay, got it. So when you're going through
Yeah.
that planning,
Hmm.
are there, there's a lot of my clients use like EOS or
Yeah.
entrepreneurial type of, do a lot of your clients already use that type of planning? Because a lot of those
Hmm.
strategies that you kind of referenced are kind of used in that, but
Hmm.
or a lot of them more immature type of companies that maybe don't already have those structures in place.
And I've seen it both ways. So some of them can be the ones that don't have their structure in place.
Yeah,
Other ones are ones that have went through that system,
yeah,
and it worked somewhat for them,
yeah.
but it was too cookie cutter.
Okay.
'Cause, I mean, we've used EOS here in the
Hmm.
firm, and we had to really customize it because it didn't. It's not a. I don't believe it's a model you can plug any business into.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be modified. There are a lot of people I know out there that take this system and just try and plug their
You're not
business
drinking
into
the
it, and it creates
Kool-Aid.
huge
You're not
gaps.
drinking the Kool-Aid, Rocco.
No, no, I know. I mean,
Yeah,
look, it's a great. I mean, it's a
yeah,
great system, and it works. But I think it has to be. There's almost an. I've seen an over reliance on the
yeah,
system
yeah.
as opposed to just getting the right people and making the system work for you.
Right, right. Yeah, it can be over tooled, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
In
That's a
my
great way of
opinion.
putting
There's
it.
some businesses that I've seen that have just gone so far into it, it just kind of over tools it, and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
this has gotten a little bit much, where if it
Yes.
just kind of, we can tweak this back a little bit and it can be
Mhm.
really powerful, right? And there's other operating
Yes.
systems out there as well, that are very,
Exactly.
very similar. The
Mhm.
the highlight of it is, right, where are you going? How are you going to
Exactly.
get there? How
Hmm.
is your visionary, typically, who is that owner, not going to have
Yep.
you running around in circles forever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The the whole operating team. You know what I mean?
Well, that's where I think the benefit of any of those
Yeah,
systems is. It's getting the visionary to articulate their vision on paper
yeah,
and give people a roadmap to follow. Whatever the roadmap is, but it's most visionaries, myself included, we have a hard time articulating where we're going because we're just looking so far ahead and we can't always articulate exactly what it looks like to everybody else.
yeah.
Those systems kind of force you to put something on paper that gives people that roadmap to follow.
Right, right. So I know we talked about
Mhm.
Instagram at you
Mhm.
know, kind of already. So we kind of usurped where I wanted to end. But talk to me, you know, lastly to kind of you know, wrap it up. As you're typically working with clients that are what size? You know,
For the advising piece, the sweet spot is really 500,000 revenue to probably up to 20 million in revenue.
okay,
That's kind of been the sweet spot, and it
okay,
can be, a single founder, a leadership team, but that's really that's where they see the most value, right? If you're a startup, with 100,000 revenue, it doesn't make sense to pay me for my service,
right.
right? You're not ready yet. I'm always willing to help somebody, talk to them, and see if I can just give them some guidance, but retaining
But
me for
there's
one of my
specific
engagements.
attorneys out there that help those kind of entrepreneurial startup type of companies.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then are you B2C focused or B2B focused or any of the
The law firm itself, so we're B2Bs,
typically
and even
B2B?
in the
Yeah.
advice, yeah, the only B2C in it is with, we do estate planning and asset protection, but that is typically with business owners.
Right. Right.
It's not just anybody off the street that needs, an estate plan. It's really about our clients, and because we're doing complex planning.
Right, right. So
But yeah, it's really
B2B,
B2B.
right,
Hmm.
B2B. And so, which is why it's so interesting that you get a lot of traction on Instagram. And I will
It's
just,
underrated.
yeah, and I will just say that, you know, that is why I do a lot more video now on
Hmm.
LinkedIn because I think that it
Yep.
shows a lot more personality. You get a lot more boosting on LinkedIn as
Absolutely.
well, just like on, I'm sure on Instagram, you know, you get a little
Yeah.
bit more personality coming through there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to kind of share about your, you know, transition with this program from your traditional law group into this new area?
Yeah, we already shared a lot about, but I would love to touch back on the social media piece. This is something I think a lot of business owners should take away. Like, don't be afraid to use social media. It is free. We have to become our own media company. It is free marketing, and truly, even as I've transitioned from the traditional lawyer into this advising, it's all been marketed through social media. The story's been told on social media, and it is such a powerful way to tell stories. And one thing, I was at a mastermind recently, and one thing I learned, which was so simple but so eye-opening, they said, just post a lot, because people get so hung up in the right post. It's got to be the right video. They said if it's not right, no one's looking at it anyways. It's truly about quantity over quality now, because there's so much noise in the marketplace, that if you're not posting a few times a day on these platforms, you get lost in the shuffle. And truly, once I started doing that, I saw my results exponentially increase.
Wow. And so I think you're right. I think that a lot of owners or people that
Hmm.
are trying to promote are so hung up on getting it right. They're so
Yep.
scared on this, what I
Yes.
will call cancel, you know,
Yeah.
being canceled because they said something
Right.
wrong, right?
Hmm.
I see too many businesses that are posting once every other week or once a week, which is not
Right.
enough, right? It's
No,
not
not at
even
all.
close. I try to post once a day on LinkedIn, and it's probably not even enough, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to at least do that. And I do you just do that? You know, you made a comment that it's free. I think a lot
Yeah.
of businesses will poke at that and go, "Well, it's not really free. I mean, I have to have somebody figure out like what is my content going to be? What is it I'm going to talk about? You still have to have something
Yeah.
valuable to talk about. You can't just go, "Here I am, boop." You know,
Yeah.
you have to have a
But
plan, right? I think you
true.
do have to have a content plan. You have to have a someone, if you are not creative enough, to your point,
Hmm.
that's where AI can help out. That is
Absolutely.
where, okay, I'm a business attorney and I want to focus
Hmm.
on strategic planning. You know, give me some helpful ideas. I'm a VP of
Yeah.
sales and I want to focus on, you know, compensation plans. I want to focus
Hmm.
on this. It can give you, it can really help you, you
Yeah,
know, to give you some thought leadership topics. That's where AI can help out. You do need to put some
absolutely.
personality to it. Don't just take what it gives you,
Exactly.
right? That's where
Right.
you do, otherwise you're going to look like
Yes.
everybody else.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so
It's really just
yeah.
document, just document. Like I tell business owners, I said, look, just document your journey. Reality TV is successful for a reason.
Mm,
People like to watch other people's real stories.
true. Yeah.
And if you show them your story of building your
Yeah.
business, people will watch it. That's why these day in the life videos have gotten so
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
People just want to see what it's like. They want to see what it's like behind the scenes. And I actually started creating some of those on YouTube now. So we're starting to put those out, just day in the life
Yeah.
videos.
I mean, the most popular post that I recently had was uh, me winning my championship at my club, right? Because it was about
See?
me, right? It was about
Exactly.
me having an accomplishment personally, right? It put some personality to it. So on
Yes.
that, you had a TED Talk, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
tell, and in the end here,
Yeah.
tell a little bit, maybe behind the scenes. How did that
Yeah.
come about? Because I don't think, I've never done a TED Talk. I don't know
Yeah.
what that would be like. Tell the listeners what that was like, and maybe something, a
Yeah.
nugget of experience.
It was definitely the coolest experience. So I had, it's literally 2019 I did it. So I had been posting when I left corporate America. I started posting on Instagram, and a company, they go out and locate TEDx speakers. 'Cause you have to apply to these events to get chosen, right?
Okay.
So they reached out and they said, hey, we like your content. We think you'd be good. Do you have any topics you'd like to speak about? And I was speaking at high schools and middle schools about kindness in
Hmm.
business. That was kind of what I'd already been talking about. So I'm like, yeah, this is one. So they pitched it to like three or four different TEDx events, and I got accepted to I think three of them, but you only do one at
Okay.
one a year. So I chose the one in Canada just so I could say I'm an international TEDx speaker from
Okay.
the marketing
Nice.
standpoint. But I'll tell you what, I can get up and talk off the cuff for 60 minutes, no problem. A 12-minute speech where every word matters.
Yeah.
I practiced and wrote that and rewrote it like ad nauseum for six to where my kids could repeat it
Wow.
because I was practicing it so much. But it was, you walk out there, and I remember just that feeling right before my name got called, like this sense of nervous excitement. But then you walk out in that red circle, and like everything froze, and it was just it all came out, and it was the coolest experience because afterwards I think they only sell 100 tickets to each event,
Hmm.
and afterwards all the speakers have different areas. And I probably had 50 people lined up to talk to me just to say that they appreciated that I said kindness matters because no one talks about it.
Nice.
So it really made an impact, and that's what mattered most to me.
Yeah.
Truly,
Yeah.
it was the coolest experience of my life.
Yeah, that everybody appreciated your message.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Right,
exactly what it
right,
was.
right,
Yes,
right. Very
it was
cool.
a powerful moment in my life,
Very cool.
definitely.
Nice. I appreciate you coming and being on my podcast, Rocco. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm so glad you were able to join me.
Likewise, it was my pleasure, Ron. I truly appreciate you having
All
me.
right. Thank you.